right, these are some of my breastfeeding top tips. Remember that you're an individual, so look at your cup size and use that to determine how you're going to breastfeed your baby. If you think about it, a mum with small breasts, so an A cup size, will need to feed from both sides and probably feed more frequently than a mum who's got a double G cup size. You might find that a mum with a larger breast will only need to feed her baby from one breast at each feed and will probably only feed every 3 to 4 hours rather than needing to feed every 2 to 3 if you've got small cup sizes. It's important to look at what's coming out. So often, because there isn't a little gauge on the breast that says your baby has now had enough food, you don't really know how much your baby's taking from the breast. So if you keep an eye on what's coming out, you're going to know what's coming in. And the trick is to really look at the colour of the baby's poos as well. By about day 10, we want to see that your baby's poos are nice and yellow. And if your baby's poos are nice and yellow and he's doing 6 to 8 a day, you know that your baby's getting enough and is also getting to the hind milk, the really fat, rich, creamy milk that mums are so keen for their babies to have. When your baby's coming onto the breast, remember that the baby's lower lip needs to be well away from the nipple and the top lip is going to be quite close to the nipple. So if the baby is coming onto the breast from across cradle hold, which is this way, you would find that the lower lip would be over here and the top lip would be over there. So a lot of people, when they think about breastfeeding, until you really look into it, they almost think that the nipple needs to go centered into the baby's mouth, but actually it's an off-center latch. Now, you know that your baby has got the right latch when your nipple is nice and round. So if I turn that up like that, you can see that that little nipple is nice and round. So that would have been a good latch. If your nipple is pinched like a wedge of cheese or a new lipstick shape, you know that your baby's lower lip is actually right next to the nipple, so the nipple's more centered into the baby's mouth, and that's why it's hurting. So to avoid sore nipples when breastfeeding, always make sure you line your baby up nose to nipple so that your baby's lower lip will be here and the top lip will just be right next to the nipple. My next top tip is about how to keep your baby awake. Often when babies are really, really tiny, as soon as they get close to mum, they start to nestle and snuggle and then they go to sleep, which is brilliant, but it's quite annoying when it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you want to get back to sleep. So to keep your baby nice and awake during the feed, remember to keep him really, really close to you and then just use gentle compression around the outer edge of the breast to push milk into the baby's mouth. My last top tip is going to help quite a lot of mums. So many mums are told that if you're breastfeeding, your baby's not going to have any wind. That's just for bottle-fed babies. Well, they're wrong. So I want to show you how your baby's going to behave if he or she has wind. Now, wind can really affect a breastfeed. So it can lead to the baby pulling off the breast and arching and kicking their legs and all sorts of things. So if you're breastfeeding and you find that your baby becomes very unsettled, take your baby off, and now I'm going to show you how to wind them. Okay, so this is my little friend over here. Okay, so you're going to use this default hold where you have 2 fingers above her arm and 2 fingers below the arm, and then thumb and index finger just on the cheek like that. Now the reason I want you to have your ring finger and baby finger under the arm is so that you can help straighten up baby's back like that. So when your baby's back is nice and straight, the bubbles can nudge themselves up. So if your baby's arching backwards, it's telling you that your baby's got wind that needs to come up. So by keeping the back nice and straight, stroking the back up like that, or supporting the head and lying her down, or doing some rotation, that's going to manipulate the bubbles and help them to come up so that your baby will burp. And as soon as she's burped, she's going to feel a lot more comfortable. If you're sitting your baby up and you feel that she's pulling up her legs quite a lot, that tells you your baby's got a gut pain, so they need to do a poo. Now, you'd think that there isn't a lot you can do about this, but there actually is. When a baby's lying like this, her rectum is curled up. So when the baby pulls her legs up, the rectum is straight. Now you might already have learned this lesson because when you're doing a nappy change and the legs are up, the valve is open, so you get projectile poos. So if you're finding that your baby's pulling up their leg, by gently lifting up the legs or rotating the bottom like that, you're effectively going to help your baby to pass and fill her nappy, which will make her feel a lot better. As soon as you get your baby back into the neutral position, always with the palm of your hand on her chest, you should feel that your baby's quite relaxed, and that's when you know you can get back onto breastfeeding. If at this stage you find that your baby still won't latch onto the breast and does that mad side-to-side thrashing, it means that she's hungry, but she's still got wind trapped under her diaphragm, so go back and do some of your active winding.